Today, we are going to be talking about Ready Player One, so stay tuned. Welcome to The Real Review, sponsored by Parametric and Lazy Ape Studios, where you get some of the latest happenings, real thoughts, and perspectives in the world of film and television. Everybody, I am here with Joel, socially awkward Mark Rylance, Cunningham.
Oh, that's not nice. I'm just kidding. I get all like, I don't even know. Get all socially awkward. I am here with Matt won't take the leap with me. Hey.
I won't. I refuse to.
Really, though?
I refuse.
I've been putting it out there for so long, and it's just not
it depends if you're going with dance or the other thing.
I just meant dancing. Okay. I just want to go dance somewhere with you, Matt.
I just want to dance.
I just want to dance with a bunch of zombie people.
Well, anyways,
Spoilers.
I'm glad you took the leap with us. Everybody see that segue? And
was
watching and participating in
why you're in charge.
The Real Review podcast. I appreciate it. We thank you for tuning in. You're all awesome. So today, like I said, we're going to be talking about Ready Player One. We're going to do a little spoiler section at the end as well. But yeah, just quick concept, real quick for people who haven't been a part of the show, haven't experienced it. Joel kind of takes one side of movie reviewing. I take another side. I'm a little bit emotional, maybe like more about just having fun. Was it entertaining? Did it evict like the feels, kind of a thing. Convict. Convict. I
don't know. Yeah.
Something like that. So I'm a little bit more emotional, maybe a little more unstable in that kind of way. Joel's a little bit more negative, maybe.
Yeah.
Skeptical, analytical, picks things apart, detail-oriented, that kind of a thing. And then we bring them together for a show where we give you a well-balanced version of a movie review, right?
True. It is very true, yeah.
Seems pretty true.
Yeah. I'm not going to lie, by the way. I'm having allergies massively. I think I'm just a little cloudy. Did we do the intro even? I can't even remember if we did the intro.
We did the intro.
Yeah, I can't even remember.
We did the intro. It's awesome.
Yeah. Like the welcome to Parametric.
I did the whole thing.
My whole brain.
He's so foggy right now.
I'm totally
That's
teasing
why
right
I'm
now.
hosting the show today, guys. That's what's happening.
Like I said, that's why you're in charge today. So, yeah. No, I'm kidding. I'm good. I'm going to get it.
What you can do to help out is tell our lovely listeners and watchers how to get connected.
I can do that.
Do it.
I'm going to do it, Matt. Here we go. Oh, cool. So you can get connected to us on our website, which is realreviewmedia.com. We also have our Facebook, which is facebook.com/realreviewmedia, as always spelled REEL. We also have both our Instagram and our Twitter, which are both at Real Review Media. Love to get connected with you on any of those platforms. We're always trying to post really fun things. And we were one of the first ones to drop the Ready Player One trailer with the rest of the world.
Yeah.
But,
with the rest of the world. Right.
Yeah. So definitely check that out. And then we always love to hear your thoughts, opinions, perspectives, ideas, concepts, fun, good, bad, the otherwise. No photos. Don't send us any photos because we don't look at them. I don't even know why I'm saying that. So, but send us an email, realreviewmedia@gmail.com. I'm in a weird place.
You are in a weird place. You are in the oasis, sir.
I am. Yeah.
So with that, let's go ahead and dive into our first movie.
Yeah.
Well, our only movie. I guess we got a chance to see. But then we'll dive into spoilers later. So, Ready Player One. Let me break it down for you real quick. Synopsis. When the creator of a virtual reality world called the Oasis dies, he releases a video in which he challenges all Oasis users to find his Easter egg, which will give the finder his fortune, basically. Directed by the immensely talented Steven Spielberg, written by Zach Penn, Ernest Cline, who's the author of the novel that the film is based off of. Stars Ty Sheridan, Olivia Cooke, Ben Mendelsohn, Lena Wealth, TJ Miller, Simon Pegg, Mark Rylance, Philip Zhao.
Wow.
And a number of other people.
Wow.
Yes. Do you want me to give you my first initial takes on this movie?
Sure. Why not?
Okay. We haven't talked about this, and I did that on purpose. So I went into this movie, seeing the previews, thinking, okay. Like, I wasn't like excited or hyped about it.
Yeah.
I was like, okay. I didn't think the trailers were that good, in my opinion. I didn't think it did.
Really?
Yeah.
See, I will say, I was super excited based on the first trailer.
I wasn't. I was just kind of like, okay, whatever.
With the sticks thing and the just,
well, like some of that stuff was cool. All the nostalgia stuff I saw in the trailer was cool.
Willy Wonka.
But it didn't like make me want to see it anymore. I was like, oh, that's kind of cool. I like that. But anyways, I really like this movie.
Nice.
I really, really did. I was like surprised, and it's long. It's like 2 hours and 20 minutes or something like that. But I remember thinking, oh, we're about 2 hours. And I was thinking to myself, oh, I only got like 20 minutes left. I wanted more.
Yeah.
And I was like, what's going to happen in the last 20 minutes?
Yeah.
And I really, really enjoyed this movie.
Very cool. And you didn't read the book.
I didn't read the book. So that's another perspective is Joel read the book.
Yeah.
I did not read the book.
Yes.
And
Nerd.
I don't know anything about I don't know anything about. Hey, you're a nerd in a different way.
Yeah,
I read all the Star Wars books.
That is true. Yeah, that is true.
But I really enjoyed this movie and was very, very surprised, and I really want to see a sequel, and I want to see more.
And you never will. Maybe. I mean, you might.
He's writing another book.
Oh, is he?
Ernest Cline started his he turned in his first draft or whatever. Right before the movie came out, because he didn't want the new movie to affect his writing.
Gotcha.
Craziness. Anyway,
that is craziness. Well, I now that I'm thinking about it, I know I said that never. I could see it.
Yeah.
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 Yeah. I could.
Yeah. So thoughts on the movie.
So thoughts on the movie. Overall, a positive experience. I don't think you sound a bit more excited.
Yeah,
which is normal.
Yeah. I normally don't form how I feel about a movie until the day after I watch it. I saw it last night. I would have today I would have been the one thinking like, how am I going to review this thing? And last night I walked out. I was like, I enjoyed that. Like I don't know. I don't have that initial gut reaction a lot of times.
We'll break into it in more detail. For me, I think as I was watching it, it just felt there were some aspects that were missing. And I don't want to say that that necessarily has to do with the book.
Sure.
I think there's more to it than that.
Sure.
But we will get into it more. I want to start with some positives. Visually, it was a lot of fun. Not just for the nostalgia. I mean, that was awesome at times. I mean, you had some very random, like, whoa occurrences.
Exactly.
Stuff I wouldn't have necessarily expected to kind of pop in there, which I was expecting, but even still was pretty awesome. I think the voice acting was good enough. The visuals, like as far as like the actual CG, I think worked well. There was times where it felt a little like little kiddie like CG, like video gamey.
It lends a hand to what it's about, though.
Yeah.
That's I think that's why it works.
Right, and there was times where it really worked. Like there was a scene that happened close to the middle of the movie where they're kind of looking for a sort of next step in the puzzle, and they go into this sort of film. I don't want to spoil that, but that was
my favorite sequence of the movie.
Right.
By the way.
That was amazing.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people can appreciate that. And the special effects there and the visual style were just like seamless.
Yeah.
And really cool, I think, there. But there was just some of the times, and maybe they did it more on purpose, but it was just some of the times where some of the characters looked a little bit like, okay, I can tell that's very much like a computer animated type thing. Whereas, you see certain movies these days, and you're almost like, wow, that's pretty darn good,
Right.
So that was fine. I think overall, there was definitely moments where it was fun and I was kind of engaged. I think a lot of times when the music would come in and then during an action scene, I think one of the things that Steven Spielberg generally always does really well and did really well in this movie is that he has good ends.
Yeah.
Like his films end nice. You feel like you get enough with the characters,
right? And
you feel like, okay, everything kind of completed, with the experience. And I think that was as well the case for this one.
There's a completion of an arc that
Right.
happens. Yeah.
The story kind of builds and then it gets to like a breaking point where everything goes to craziness and that's kind of what happened. And, and then you have your conclusion. So, and I'm trying to say a lot of this without spoiling.
Right. There's a hefty amount of spoilers.
Correct.
Definitely in this.
Yeah.
Just some other things that I liked about it. Other than it was just a lot of fun. I don't know. Was it motion capture? Because when I was looking at the CG a lot, especially that middle scene that we're talking about, it seemed like, obviously the avatars, who their characters were in the Oasis, the like virtual world, like they were CG and they weren't meant to be like completely realistic looking. They were supposed to have a little bit of
they looked a little false.
Right. And I think that's supposed to be. And that's why I think it works, that visual style. But the reason why I ask is because it seemed like the environments, especially that scene, was actually there in that place.
Right. I know.
And I was like,
that's
wow,
why it was
that
so
is
cool.
incredible.
Right. The environments that they were in felt cool and interesting to me. It was the characters themselves.
Yeah.
There was just something about them at times where they felt almost discordant with even the digital environment that they were in.
Oh, really?
I don't know if that makes sense, but it was almost like there was like a weird shake or like just something to them at times where they just didn't feel. I don't know. I'd have to. I've only seen this once. I'd have to kind of go back and watch it, but it just felt a little discordant for me.
Okay,
it's on that plane of whatever, that eerie plane of
Uncanny Valley.
Yeah, the Uncanny Valley. It was like it's getting close to the eerie for me at times.
I thought it was supposed to be like that, though. I don't know. Maybe that's why I didn't mind it as much. But
the other positive I would say, and I didn't mention this, was I did laugh quite a bit. I mean, there's definitely some good lines. T.J. Miller. Although he can be draining at times for some
I didn't
people.
even know he was in it until I heard. I was like, oh, it's TJ Mills. He's got such a distinct voice.
Yeah, at first I was like, oh no, not more the TJ. But they actually, I think, handled his character well in it. Because he usually plays like the idiot guy that everybody makes fun of. And he's kind of like that, but he's not in this one. And so I was like, oh, that's kind of a nice little twist off of things. I think character-wise, Ben Mendelsohn, who's like our primary antagonist in this, he's always a great antagonist for the film.
He's always a kind of good bad guy.
Yeah,
for sure.
I think everybody else did a good enough acting job.
Yeah. I thought there's a lot of really cool visually realized things. Like I liked seeing like the IOI centers. Like
it's very creative.
Stuff. Yeah. I liked seeing a lot of that stuff visualized in real life. I did really like the story. It reminded me of classic Spielberg. Like, you know, the kids like. Save the day kind of a thing, you know. I was like, oh, that's cool. It's like very 80s, kind of like the nostalgia stuff, you know. And I enjoyed that. I thought the characters for the most part were good. There's some stuff that I wish I would have gotten some more of, but I don't have a lot of negatives about this. I chuckled at some things. I didn't laugh out loud a lot, but that doesn't mean I didn't enjoy it. I thought some of the jokes were good. I actually laughed out loud a couple times and nobody else was laughing. Yeah. And I was like, why is nobody laughing? This is funny. Too, yeah. It's like, that's funny. Yeah. There's a thumbs up moment. And I was like, and nobody else is laughing because nobody else got the reference. I thought
that was great too. Yeah.
It's like, oh man, okay. Yeah. But that's it. I mean, I don't have a lot.
Yeah. And for pure, and this is something I couldn't say would be the same for everybody, but just for pure subjective nostalgia sake of seeing some of those characters on screen again, it's just cool.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, you know, you're just, oh, that's that. Oh, you know, you connecting to it in a different way. That was just really neat. I know I talked about, like, there was stuff in there I wasn't expecting, and that was cool, but it was more just like, I don't know. Neat to see some of it get pulled in.
Yeah, for sure.
I will say that kind of wraps up most of my positives.
Okay. Take it into the negative territory with your allergies and all.
The negative train. So I think one of the biggest things that was missing for me, I've been trying to pinpoint it. The best way that I could explain it is that I felt like it lacked stakes in a tangible way that made me really connect with the characters. It lacked a sense of depth and just like I was never really in fear that any of these characters were going to like die. And even if they had, I don't think I would have been that torn up about it, which I know sounds kind of bad, but like to use another, you know, film that he's done, Jurassic Park.
Okay.
Each of those characters, I was like, if any of those characters die, I'm like, wow, that was impactful. Like I cared about them. They had for some reason, there was just some connectability, relatability to the characters in that film that I didn't have with this one. And obviously they're completely different films.
Yeah.
I think part of it goes down to the fact that, and this is again maybe a very subjective thing, not going to be the same for everybody, but it was really hard for me to jump my connecting to the same person as an avatar versus as a person on screen.
Okay.
Because they were so different.
Yeah.
They were so visually different and their voices were similar, but they were so just complete opposites in ways that it was like when I saw them it was almost like when I'm watching them in the video game world.
Two different characters?
Yeah, I was like, I'm connecting with this character Parzival.
Parzival.
When I'm connecting with him in that world, he's like that person.
Yeah.
But when I'm connecting with outside, he is Wade because he's kind of mopey and like, woo, you know, when he's like in the real world. And it was just really hard for me to be like feeling like I'm connecting with characters all the way through it. I think the stakes were there.
Right.
But I will say, and this is where we start to get into that whole like book versus movie thing.
Book versus movie. I gotcha.
I think the way that the stakes were played out in the book made it a lot more tangible threat, tangible pain, tangible stuff. Like in this movie, it was kind of like everybody was just like, oh, well, this is just kind of the world we live in. Da, da, da. Whereas in the book, it really gives you a sense of like the world is like falling apart, things are messed up, like people are going to school in the
that's the thing. That's
in the book.
That was the biggest negative
in
for
the video
me,
game
is the is I didn't feel that the world was as terrible as he said it was.
Right.
Just in Columbus, Ohio, in the stacks where he was, I felt that, but not the world.
Exactly.
So, and obviously the book has a lot more freedom and time to explore all that.
It does,
stuff,
but
so.
I think they could have done still more with that.
Sure.
In the book, it really felt like the video game was a solution to the problem, which was the world falling apart.
Right.
Whereas in this one, it almost more felt like, well, people just really enjoy the video game. It's a lot of fun. You can do cool things in it.
Right.
And become really popular, so let's play the video game.
Right.
Whereas in the movie, like I said, or in the book, it was like they went to school in the video game world. They lived their lives in the video game world, and they kind of tiptoed a little bit.
Yeah.
They talked a little bit about, we'll change the schools on the planes to, breakfast. Sorry, spoilers. Sorry. Try not to go there. But it just never really got to such a tangible level. It just stayed more in this kind of high-level fun adventure type thing. This fun adventure romp. And it wasn't a fun enough adventure where I was just kind of like disconnecting with the characters like Goonies or something.
Yeah.
Like Goonies had such a crazy cast of characters that I was like, okay, I can just connect with like the crazy adventure that they're going on in this cast of characters. With this one, it was like we're trying to make it really like the world is falling apart and people are going to die, but it's also kind of fun. And so,
I had a lot of fun. But the only other negative is that I felt like Parzival's character like fell in love way too fast.
Well, that was another one. Yeah.
That wasn't earned as much to me. I was like, okay, I guess I'm just going to believe this because this kid is just in video game land, and he just falls in love with everything, I guess. I was assuming he just falls in love quickly in general.
And that was the other thing that I really had a problem with was the story progression. I think the story progression of the book was a lot more interesting and made a lot more sense because in the movie, and we're not going to spoil it, but it was just so quick. We're talking about it in spoilers. It was so quick how they fell in love with each other. It was like, boom, boom, they're in love. I'm like, what? That doesn't make, what? And I want to talk about that more specifically.
Man, I want to watch it again.
In the spoiler talk. But yeah, that just felt very overly manipulative. And I think the other thing that I got from the book that I didn't get as much with this movie was the friendships felt more solid. You know, it really felt like people were kind of like going through things together because I think the stakes were higher because literally like this is life or death for a lot of people playing this game and being successful at it. Since the stakes were so much higher, the things that you see the characters going through together and helping each other and supporting each other meant a lot more. Yeah. Whereas like with this movie, they spent a large chunk of it with Samantha's character, Artemis, kind of on this like almost not Easter egg hunt type thing, but like hide and seek type adventure. Yeah. And that wasn't like even in the book. And I'm like, I don't need this whole hide and seek thing with her character. Like there was
Okay, so
let's not get into it yet.
So there's stuff. Okay, obviously they had to adapt some stuff.
Yeah, and I'm also gonna have to figure out how we do this because when we get into the spoiler talk, that doesn't mean I can spoil the book because people haven't necessarily read the book.
Well, it's spoiler talk. It's gonna be spoiler for, but we'll just disclaim that.
All right,
it'll be totally fine.
All right. If people are comfortable.
Hey, we're gonna give you this. So let's give some breakdowns on scores, and then we'll get into the spoilers.
So I'm giving this one an 82.
Right? That's not as bad as I thought it was going to be. I'm giving it a 90.
Okay.
I love this thing.
That makes sense. Yeah. But
I had so much fun with this movie. It's just a visual feast. There's a race that they depict in the trailers where the main character has the DeLorean from Back to the Future. And
spoiler talk here.
It's in the movie. It's in the trailer. It's in the trailer.
Yeah.
And just that whole sequence is just an explosion of just visual extravaganza. It's crazy. 90, 82. Sweet.
Yeah, there you go.
So let's get into our spoiler section. We're going to talk about some of the spoilers in the movie and in the book.
Yes.
And if you don't want to be a part of it, shut it off now. But let's get into the spoilers in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Mark Rylance dies.
He does. Within the first 7 minutes.
He does, yeah. I was trying to think. I was like, crud, who actually dies in this?
That was one thing I didn't get to say is Mark Rylance, I loved his character.
He was so good.
He was really good.
Yeah, he was actually really fun.
He's just really like awkward. And just like, okay.
And some of his commentary, are you going to take the key? Like,
exactly.
Do you want it? Yeah, I thought that was really fun. Yeah. I thought he did a great job with that character, and you really get the sense of him being that kind of like secluded, aloof, like genius guy.
Socially awkward.
Like totally made sense to me. So let's see if I can talk about a couple things.
Yeah.
I want to start with talking about a couple things that and I hate to do this, but like book versus movie
Okay.
that I really liked that they did in the book that I wish they'd kind of done in the movie.
Okay.
First of all, they added the chase scene to the movie, which is not even in the
chase
book.
Scene?
The first chase scene with the cars.
Oh, that wasn't a thing?
Nothing like that in
Gotcha.
the movie. In the book, again, he's just a kid that lives his life. And
Right.
so he's going to school. Like
Yeah.
he's literally living his life. He's going to school. And this contest has been going on for a really long time.
Okay.
And there's a sense of desperation in the world.
Okay.
And the reason that everybody's searching for the egg isn't just because, oh, that's cool, I could take
Yeah.
over Oasis. But it's like, literally, this is my chance. And they don't really talk about this motivation, this idea that this is my chance that I could become a wealthy person like everybody else, that I could move out of this. You know, they live in this decrepit world where they're just stacked on top of each other.
Right.
And you really get a sense of the weight and the heaviness and why that means so much to so many people, because the whole world sucks.
Yeah.
And this could be their chance to break free from that. Not just, oh, I get to take over Oasis and
Right.
there's this bad group that's trying to take over. That's a secondary motivation that becomes the primary
I see.
motivation,
Okay.
which is that they want to
What was
protect
the
Oasis.
first? How did they get the first key in the book?
So in the book, they actually have to... I don't want to spoil everything for everybody,
Okay.
but he's going to school and then he realizes that based upon one of the clues that there's like a hidden room, more or less, that he has to go to, and he has to play a game.
Okay.
And it's very similar to what happens
At the end?
at the end of the
Yeah.
movie.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, sort
I
of.
liked all the little
But there's
clues.
another game, and I really like the game, and
Yeah.
so, but like it's a different process, and he meets Artemis then. Like
Okay.
he meets her right at the beginning,
Yeah.
and because of
In
that,
the real world or in the
no,
Oasis?
like at the very beginning of in Oasis.
Oh, okay.
And they are the first two to figure out how to get the keys.
Ah, okay.
And so that really sets things off for them.
Yeah.
Because they're battling at the very beginning
Right.
to get that first key, and there's an ongoing kind of back and forth, and so they're kind of forced to be together.
Right.
Whereas this one, it's kind of like, oh, you fixed my bike,
Yeah.
and then it's like, oh, well, you found the first key, and I love you.
Yeah.
It was like, what?
yeah,
like they had like
that
one
was the only thing. I was like, I didn't buy that.
Right,
I
they
was
spent
like, "Ew,
right.
that's
They spent a lot
quick."
more time talking and getting to know each other, and she was very distant at
Yeah.
the beginning, and she was kind of hesitant. And then over time, because they're the first two to find the keys,
Yeah.
and they get so popular and famous, they kind of are forced to be together more, and
Yeah.
the progress of their relationship just makes a lot more sense. And so
Right.
the stakes of the contest, whereas this one, it starts out with this big giant like car race, and boom, it's like the first key is very simple.
Yeah.
It's like they go into a room and they play a game and they
Right.
win, and then they get the key.
Man, yeah.
And it builds, though. The
Yeah.
complexity and the strength and the bigness of everything really builds. And his life, even throughout the course of this, completely changes.
Yeah.
He goes from living in the stacks
Yeah.
and being a nobody to becoming like the most popular person in the world. Everybody knows him. Everybody wants something. He has tons because in the movie, they make it look like he only gets a little bit of money.
Right.
In the game, he has like unlimited funds.
Right,
You know,
okay.
or in the book, sorry, he has like unlimited funds. And so it becomes this huge thing. His whole life is turned around. He becomes a celebrity. And then it kind of slowly builds. And then you see all that fall apart. And then it really becomes what the story is about, which is about them saving Oasis from this really bad organization
Right.
that wants to basically control the world.
IOI.
Right. And that's what they don't talk about. They
Yeah.
make it seem like it's just this greedy corporation that wants to make a bunch of money.
Okay.
But in the context of the book, if that company gets taken over, if the Oasis gets taken over by the company, they basically run
Artemis
the world.
alludes to that, but they don't really go into
Right,
it. Yeah.
but the stakes are higher and
Yeah,
they're
yeah.
bigger. And so that was kind of one of the other things that I really kind of was upset about. I felt
Yeah.
like, why not follow that progression a little better, a little
Right.
closer? I knew there's elements that they couldn't include, and it almost felt like it was some hybrid thing of Steven Spielberg saying like, well, this is how I normally tell a story,
Okay.
mixed with, well, we only have the rights to these sorts of properties.
Yeah. I saw an interview with him. He says he got a lot of rights because he was Steven Spielberg, but
Yeah.
there's still a lot he couldn't do
Right.
when like he wanted to, but he
Right.
just didn't have the rights for
I
it.
get that. It's tough. I mean, I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah.
So there was good and bad and elements of things that, and I don't want to spoil a lot of the book progression
Yeah.
because I still
was
think
The Shining in it?
Maybe.
Oh, come on. The Shining was my favorite. As soon as the little tennis ball or the ball came and hit what's the dude's name?
Oh, I forget his name.
H.
H. Yeah.
Hit H in the leg.
Lena.
I just started
Lena.
laughing.
Yeah.
I was like, oh my gosh, nobody was laughing. I was like, okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
I thought that was so good. And then the crazy, like, he's the old lady in the bathtub or whatever.
Yeah. Well, the biggest thing that kind of changed would be closer to the end.
Okay.
The book really ends in a much different fashion.
Oh, okay.
So this one, it's kind of like, again, it's that cat and mouse game where she's kind of trying to hide but also help them. Da, 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 da.
Yeah.
And there's definitely a part where they have to infiltrate that group, but that actually comes through Wade's character in the book. Maybe they're trying to give the main girl, Artemis, a bigger role or something like that.
Okay.
But they kind of all, the way that the book ends is it builds. They don't meet each other, they don't know each other. They're all very hesitant to share their personality or who they really are, obviously, because of what happens. But they're all spread throughout the world. Yeah. Like a couple of the guys are in Japan, like the actual like Japanese guys are in Japan. And so what happens is it all builds to like the end of the book where they all have to come together and fight.
Okay.
And whereas with this one, it was kind of like they were all pretty much together by almost middle of the movie, sort of a thing. There was like almost...
It was kind of the last third, like when they finally, like everybody's in that van together. Like,
right.
Yeah.
But they all are kind of like their own person, whereas like they all end up coming together very, very late in the book. And then it's this epic, like they're all banding together to like, we're going to take down the bad guys together. It's this like huge force.
Yeah.
And they did that in the movie. It just didn't raise it to the same stakes.
Sure.
I think it just felt a little bit more like, yeah. You know, they probably, if they had been like, had the right money, they could have bought like a camo thing and maybe snuck in there. So I don't know, but it just didn't feel quite the same.
Okay, so one disappointment I had, I thought for sure at that last battle we were going to see the Millennium Falcon swoop in because they had alluded to it earlier. Yeah, I was like, dang it, like it didn't happen.
Yeah, and there's a really cool. I will say, I love the Gundam. I thought the Gundam was really cool.
That was really cool.
I love the Iron Giant. I thought that was really cool. There's a much more epic battle like that happens in the book because part of them going from key to key and getting clue to clue is that they get these really awesome like rigs that nobody else in the game has. Oh, cool. And so that there's this big epic battle that happens at the end where they kind of have to fight each other with these giant mechas.
Oh, that's cool.
And that's not even in the movie. And I was like, oh, I really wanted that. That was painful.
Okay.
I mean, they had the Mecha Godzilla, which was cool.
I mean, I can see how that would be kind of a letdown. I mean, that's kind of a perspective for me. I think probably people will enjoy this movie that didn't read the book more. So
yeah, there's definitely going to be enough in the book that you could read that and get kind of a different experience and stuff. I think even the relationships looked a lot different in the book than they did in the movie.
Oh, you know what was the weirdest thing? Simon Pegg with an American accent.
Yeah, that was pretty odd.
At first I was like, that looks like Simon Pegg, but he's not talking like Simon Pegg.
Is Olivia Cook, she's British, right?
I don't know. Because
there was a line of dialogue, I forget exactly where it was, where she came across as really British in the movie. And it was like, and I was like, whoa, that's
she's from England.
Okay. I think there was a bad read or something. There was a moment where I was like, that sounded really British. Really? Okay. Yeah. Yeah, I wasn't a huge fan of her character in this one. I thought she was kind of like silly, and it didn't really make...
I gotcha. I thought she's okay.
Yeah, it was just kind of... like, it just, meh.
She looks familiar. Is she from the Norman Bates show?
I don't know. I haven't watched it, so... Yeah, I'll check that out later, but... Yeah.
Oh, Bates Motel, she is. Okay, sorry.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, cool. Yeah. Acting wise, I think out of everybody, I don't know. I think Mark Rylance.
Yeah, he stole the
probably
show.
The best.
Every time he was on screen, he was the best.
Yeah, everybody else was just like, meh. It was okay. Like, and in the book too. I keep saying that, but like everybody knew everything about Holiday. I mean,
well, I thought in my mind they made it like he's like the celebrity. He's like the worshipped one. He is the Oasis kind of.
But even more so, like Artemis would have known all those things.
Oh, okay.
About like Holiday and the girl and
Kira and all that stuff.
Yeah, like I mean, I don't want to spoil too much.
It's a spoiler section.
I know, but there's elements to it that it's like everybody knows a ton about him. Like that's like literally you can take classes on just studying him.
Right.
And so the movie to me made it almost seem more like Wade was kind of like the only person that really knew. Anything about it. You know.
I gotcha.
So I don't know.
Yeah,
I think I would have liked this a lot more if they'd stuck with the story progression that kind of had happened in the book. I felt like they were kind of trying to just like hit it really big at first and make each one just like really awesome and fun in its own way. And I thought the stuff the progression that they had in the movie was fine.
Yeah,
it wasn't awful. It made sense. I don't know, and I don't want to be that guy that's just like, oh, the books are much better.
You're gonna be that guy because here's the thing. No, I'm just kidding.
Well, and I've had the opposite.
Books are usually always better.
Well, I've had the opposite happen, too, where I've watched Hunger Games. I like the movie a ton better, the first two at least, than I like the book.
Oh, the first book was way better than the first movie. Catching Fire, though, is on par.
See, I disagree. I thought the first two books were really bland. I thought the movies were much better. I thought they did a great job fleshing out the character. But that's like a whole side point. Yeah, I'm just saying I can be open to it, So But yeah,
It's all good.
Cool.
Yeah, no, so I really like that. I want to see it again if possible. I usually have to see anything. But I'm going to see A Quiet Place this week, and I'm super excited about that.
Gotcha. I might see this one again.
Oh, do it, man.
Yeah.
I want to see it all again.
I want to check. I mean, I love the Chucky thing.
Yeah.
I mean, like, all that was funny. And Freddy and seeing all that random, like, Halo guys coming out of nowhere and stuff. I thought that was cool, and I want to go back and see if maybe...
there were so many that were so fast. There was a Beetlejuice thing that lasted like half a second.
Yeah.
There was a Chun-Li thing that I saw. There was...
Chun-Li. They also had, what's her name from... Is it Overwatch? The video game that's really popular right now? Yeah, they tried to incorporate some more popular, modern popular stuff.
I couldn't... Yeah, anyways.
But there's probably so much... I was hoping to see Jaws at one point.
Oh, that would have been cool.
Happened, but
yeah. I was thinking we're going to see some like raptors or something at the end. But
that would have been pretty cool. I mean, the T-Rex was awesome.
Yeah,
you got
that
the T-Rex
was really
roar.
cool. Yeah.
I thought that was pretty
That was
neat.
super sweet.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
Let's go ahead.
All right, let's wrap it
let's
up.
go ahead and wrap things up for the show today. Thanks for tuning in, guys. Again, if you want to get connected with us, Facebook.com, Instagram, and Twitter at Real Review Media. Email us, realreviewmedia@gmail.com. Go to our website, realreviewmedia.com. And then also YouTube, youtube.com/The Real Review. Check us out there. And if you have any questions, let us know. Comment on the video if you're watching. Let us reach out to us. Let us know if there's a movie that you really liked or want to hear more about. And Joel, anything else?
I think that's it, brah.
That's it. Well, it's been real.
It's been real.